Welcome back to the Savage Sanctified Podcast, where we talk grown woman kingdom wisdom, relationships, healing, money, and peace without sugarcoating anything. I'm your host, Valerie Logans. Today, we're talking about something that can either build your life or quietly drain you over time, being unevenly yoked in a romantic relationship or your marriage. Yes, we're going there. And if you've been here with me before, you already know. I don't talk about what I haven't lived. I don't teach what I haven't walked through. So go ahead, grab your coffee, your tea, or your water and sit with me because we've got some things to get into. Now, you already know what time it is. Let's talk about my experience. There was a time in my life where I truly believed love could carry everything. If two people loved each other enough, we would figure it out. Differences didn't matter. Mindsets didn't matter. Direction didn't matter. Love was supposed to be enough. So we ran off and did it. We got married. And for a while, it felt like it was. It felt like love could fix everything until life required more than feelings. Because eventually, life will ask you to make decisions. Because it's easy to feel connected when things are light. But alignment, that shows up under pressure. When money gets tight, when real decisions need to be made, when life gets uncomfortable, that's when you find out, are we actually walking together or are we just standing next to each other? Let's ground this in the Word. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 14 through 16. Do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with lawlessness? And what communion has light with darkness? And what accord has Christ with Belial? Or what part has a believer with an unbeliever? And what agreement has the temple of God with idols? For you are the temple of the living God. Now let's bring this into real life. One person is seeking God for direction. The other is leaning on feelings or circumstances. One is asking, what is right? The other is asking, what feels good right now? Those paths don't stay aligned for long. And this is where people get confused about what marriage really is. Marriage, or even a long-term relationship, is not just cuddly moments and sweet words. Love is beautiful. Passion is real. But that is not the foundation. Marriage is the power of two with purpose. It's building something. It's creating foundation. And if it's kingdom, it's about building something that outlives you, a legacy, a structure, a covering. Misalignment doesn't always show up in what people say. It shows up in how they decide. Now let's go deeper, because this is where things get uncomfortable. Roles. Because once you start talking about alignment, you cannot skip structure. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 5, verses 23 through 25. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is head of the church. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. Now let's slow that down. Leadership is not about control. It is about responsibility. Gave himself for her. That is sacrifice. That is weight. So in a kingdom-aligned relationship, leadership shows up in how a man provides, in how he protects, in the stability he creates, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Leadership is not what you say, it is what you carry. Now let's balance this. When a woman chooses that kind of structure, it requires alignment with it, not losing her voice, not losing her identity, but being intentional about what she is building. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 31, verse 27. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Let's go to Titus chapter 2, verses 4 through 5. To love their husbands, to love their children, to be intentional about the home. That can look like creating peace in the environment, keeping things in order, cooking, if that works for your household. Sometimes the man cooks better, and that's fine. This is not about ego. It is about function. Roles are not about control. They are about coverage. Structure works when both people participate in it. Here is something I live by and strongly believe in. For a man, his place is the head of the household, but in order to direct, one must provide and protect. And for a woman to be the woman of the house, one must provide peace and stability. For your home must be for both a sanctuary. Now let's talk about money, because money will reveal everything. Let's go to Amos chapter 3, verse 3. Can two walk together unless they agree? One person is disciplined, the other is impulsive. One is building, the other is spending. That will create tension. Let's go to Luke chapter 16, verse 10. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. So if someone is careless now, more money won't fix that. It will expose it. Money doesn't change people, it reveals them. And once that starts happening, respect starts shifting. And when respect shifts, everything else follows. Now let's go deeper, because this doesn't stop with you, children. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Now ask yourself this: what are they learning if the home feels inconsistent, if leadership is unclear, if structure is unstable? Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. So if confusion is constant, something is out of order. Children don't just listen, they absorb. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 10. Two are better than one, for if one falls, the other will lift him up. That only works when both people are aligned. Because if one falls and the other cannot support, that's not partnership, that's pressure. And let's be honest, some of us saw it early. We felt it, we knew. But we told ourselves it would work, and that feeling never really left. So here's the real question. Are you building with someone, or are you constantly adjusting for someone? Because those are two very different experiences. One builds peace, the other slowly drains it. Now let's slow this down for a second, because I don't want you just listening to this. I want you to actually think about it. Ask yourself this: are we aligned in how we make decisions, or are we constantly negotiating everything? When pressure hits, do we come together, or do we pull in different directions? When it comes to money, are we building, or are we surviving moment to moment? When it comes to structure, is there clarity or confusion? And be honest with yourself, because this part right here matters. Are you at peace in this relationship, or are you constantly adjusting to keep it working? Because sometimes we don't call it misalignment, we call it patience. Sometimes we don't call it confusion, we call it figuring it out. Sometimes we don't call it draining, we call it love. But your spirit knows the difference. Let's bring this all the way together. Being unevenly yoked is not just about belief, it's about alignment. Alignment in how you think, alignment in how you decide, alignment in how you build. Because love without alignment will eventually feel like work. Structure without agreement will create tension. And partnership without support will feel like pressure. You can love someone deeply and still not be aligned with them. And that's a hard truth, but it's a necessary one. So before you move forward, before you make another decision, before you keep adjusting, take a moment and really ask yourself, am I building with this person, or am I carrying this relationship? Now, if this touched you, go ahead and like it. You feel somebody you know needs this, share. And of course, if you like how this podcast flows and you find value, please subscribe. Until next time, stay grounded, do the work, and don't grab what costs you your peace.